And we are live. Hi guys, and welcome for this new weekly live stream on the news of Ethereum and DeFi. I am Julian, and you are on In the Blocks. So I'm gonna say hi to the people in the chat. Hi Monica. Hi everybody. Say hi so I know that you're here. Hello everybody. So today we have a couple of stuff to talk about, a lot of news in DeFi as usual. So first we're going to talk of the prices of Ethereum and DeFi, and after we're going to go in the news of DeFi as usual, and after we're going to go in the news for Ethereum developer. So here we have the prices of Ethereum. So this has been a very stable week. We are kind of we are blocked on 400. We have a resistance. Before that, we went up really quickly. So I mean that's not really a big issue. That's kind of expected that we reach this level, this block here. So probably that will wait a couple of weeks, and after it will keep growing again. But long term, don't forget that Ethereum 2.0 is around the corner, so that's going to be super bullish for the price of Ether. So the network has been super used these days, and so here we have the chart of the gas price on Ethereum, and you can see that the average recently it's about 80 GUI, so that's super expensive. If you want to do anything on DeFi, transaction fee will be super expensive, will be at least 10 or 15 bucks, so that's not a great. Here, if you see the gas price for today on East gas station for the standard gas price, this is 100 GUI. This is quite terrible. So, what would be interesting is to know exactly what is the most typical use case for all the transaction on Ethereum and in DeFi, and try to see if we can start to do sort of category of operation but on layer 2. So I think we're going to see some services pop up just for that. Someone's going to notice that maybe 10-20% of your transaction therefore doing one specific thing. Someone is going to build a layer 2 service just for that, so something extremely specialized, and I think in the meantime it could help us to reduce the network utilization until ETH 2.0 is finally ready, and Ethereum can be more scalable. But in the meantime, this is a bit annoying. So before we continue, quick mention to the sponsor of this video, which is myself. I'm my own sponsor. So if you want to become a blockchain developer, you should check out my course, 6 Figures Blockchain Developer, where we build a whole blockchain portfolio with some advanced application like a decentralized exchange for ERC20 token. And it also has a whole method for how you can leverage all of this to find your first blockchain job. And if you are into DeFi programming, you can check out my other course, Profitable Flash Loans, where we create flash loans on Ethereum. We use dYdX, and we arbitrage between Uniswap and Kyber. So this is really some advanced content that you won't find elsewhere. Okay, so with this being said, let's pursue this newsletter. So now we're gonna get more specific to DeFi. So I like to check the market cap of DeFi every week. Hi guys who just arrived. Demon 11, Aaron, Manu On. Hi guys. So here we are reaching 5 billion in the total value locked in DeFi. It feels like now we start to add 1 billion every week. So it's getting pretty crazy. And I think in 1 month we might reach 10 billion at this pace. So this is pretty amazing. Maker is still the biggest DeFi application. That really makes sense because Maker with the DAI token they are really the foundation of everything else in DeFi. So that really makes sense. That the first one, Compound, number two, Synthetics, Aave, Uniswap. It's a bit low compared to its actual importance, so don't be fooled. Even if you see Uniswap in number 9, it is actually, in terms of importance, this is one of the most important DeFi protocol. So there is another metric that I saw that says that the DeFi market cap is actually 11 billion. So because they can't the Chainlink token for all this for this market cap calculation, I mean, it doesn't really matter like 5 billion, 11 billion, how you count it. What matters is that these tokens, I mean, the market cap is really huge and growing quickly. And to transition into the Chainlink tokens, so this has been one of the best progression recently. So Chainlink is really growing to the roofs. If you don't know Chainlink, this is a protocol for doing oracles. So oracles are systems that allow you to connect the outside world to the Ethereum blockchain. And Chainlink is the most advanced oracle project, and they are getting a lot of traction recently. Hi, Ole Kashiwa, in the chat. So next, let's see the other DeFi tokens on this website, DeFi market cap. So it's been pretty positive. Compound is doing pretty well. The token of Maker also is doing pretty well. Synthetics, we have a lot of greens here. So all the governance tokens of this DeFi protocol, they grow with the rest of DeFi. So that's pretty sweet. And by the way, there are a lot of these tokens that you don't need to buy, but you can get them by doing some yield farming. So next, we're going to take a quick look at the rates for this week. So DAI went a little bit down. It was 4 or 5 on Compound last week. And USDC, so I don't know what's happening on dYdX, but now it's like 22.62%. That's absolutely insane. Usually DAI is above USDC for all the markets, but this week, I don't know why USDC went crazy on dYdX. Okay, so that was it for the prices of the prices in DeFi, the rates, etc. So now we're gonna get a little bit more specific. So the DeFi market in general is really exploding. So the level of the DeFi transaction in July was above 12 billion. So that's really, really huge. And so this is related to another news. So the volume on decentralized exchanges last month in July was almost 4% of the volume of centralized exchanges. So I think we have a chart somewhere. Yeah, here. So last year we were at about 0.10%. So we were really extremely insignificant compared to Binance, Kraken, etc. But early this year, it started to increase quickly to 1%. So there was a really nice increase, but it was still very insignificant. And now, I mean, we can see that it's really going parabolic to the moon, almost 4%. So I'm pretty sure that very quick, in a couple of months, we will reach 10%. And at 10%, that really changes everything once we reach double digit, because now the centralized exchanges, they start to realize that they are actually in danger. Before they were seeing this DeFi stuff, they thought that it was just for fun, it would never be a threat. But now it's actually start to be something they have to consider. It start to be something on their radar. So hello, Chindu John. So I think that one way the centralized exchange will try to undermine the decentralized exchange is by offering more and more feature of DeFi directly in their dashboard. For example, on Coinbase, now they offer 2% if you have some DAI. and they're probably going to create some sort of DeFi interface where you can access DeFi but from their exchange. But they're never going to give you rates and benefits that are as good as if you were to invest directly in DeFi project. And DeFi investors aren't stupid; they understand this very well. So I think that centralized exchanges will struggle, but ultimately they can only delay the unavoidable, which is decentralized exchanges will just take more and more market share until they make them irrelevant. Hello, Martin. So that's it for this news. This is super encouraging. I'm super happy to see this. So the next news is DeFi is taking off really big in China. So we rarely talk about what's happening in China and blockchain. We often hear news that are contradictory, like Chinese government is for blockchain, and next week, Chinese government crackdown on blockchain. I remember I was in China 2 years ago for a crypto conference, and at the last moment it got canceled. We don't know why. Like the cops called, and it was like really weird. So we really never know like what China is doing with blockchain really. But this week we had some really good news. So first, here this is the total visit on uniswap.org. So I mean you can see in July like this is absolutely insane. DeFi Pulse, this is the same. So I mean, DeFi is getting huge this summer. And in terms of transaction, so here we have the breakdown of the weekly transaction of Uniswap every week. So we can see that for the last week of July, we were above 400,000 transactions for Uniswap. And out of this, 40,000 of these transactions came from China, from this wallet IM token. So if you don't know IM token, that's one of the most popular crypto wallets in China. 70% of their users are in China. And so, 10% of the transaction of Uniswap came from China. So it's pretty cool. I mean, DeFi is exploding no matter what, with or without China. But China is huge. And if Chinese can also participate in the party, it can only help DeFi. So that's super cool. Next news on dYdX. So dYdX launched a new product, perpetual contract. So this is a derivative product that will allow you to do some margin trading on some assets. So here, for example, you can bet with a leverage of 10 on Ethereum. So you can bet on the upside or on the downside. For example, if this is on the upside, that means every time Ethereum goes up by $1, you make $10. Every time it goes down by $1, you lose $10. So because this is extremely leveraged, this is also extremely risky. So be super careful with this. You can lose all your money extremely quickly if you do this. So be super, super careful. But dYdX, generally, this is used by advanced traders. This is not really used by beginners. So that really explains why they released product like this, really advanced. I see some question in the chat. I'll do the Q&A after I finish to talk about everything. So next news. So Aave recently announced that they're going to do a new feature where, so if you don't know Aave, this is a lending protocol, so similar to Compound. You can borrow or lend your ERC-20 tokens. And they announced this new feature where you can borrow tokens even if you don't have collateral by doing some credit delegation. So that means, let's say I'm Julian. I want to borrow for 1,000 of DAI on Aave, but I have nothing to provide as a collateral. And I have my good buddy Bob, and Bob has some asset, and Bob is willing to delegate to me his credit. So Bob is going to provide some collateral to Aave, and I will be able to use the credit of Bob to do my borrowing for me. And of course, if at any point there is a problem of collateralization, then it's the collateral of Bob that's going to be seized, not mine, because I haven't provided any. So they announced this feature last week, and this week there was the first use of this feature by Diversify, who did a credit delegation of about $500,000. So that's interesting. I'm not sure what's the reward for the person who provide the credit delegation. I believe there is some form of incentive. I don't think that you just receive the normal fee of Aave. I think you receive something extra. So that'd be interesting to know. To have more info here. Next news. So Set introduced is V2. So if you never heard of Set, that's a DeFi protocol where you can have some portfolio manager who creates some strategies in DeFi, and you can invest in their strategy. So it's like a very cheap and easy way to create your own fund. For example, if you're a trader in DeFi and you're really good and you want to create your own investment fund, well, if you wanted to do it for real, that would be very complicated. There is a lot of paperwork, a lot of lawyers, etc. That's super not easy. But with Set, you can create your strategy and you promote your strategy. And if some people are interested, they invest in your strategy, and you can collect some management fees exactly as if you were the manager of a hedge fund. So I think that's pretty amazing, both for traders and for investors. And they announced their V2, so they have a couple of new features. So first, multi-asset support. So before there was only a couple of assets, but now they're gonna be able to support a lot more of DeFi tokens, stablecoin, liquidity provider tokens. So that would be very interesting for the next feature they're going to support, which is yield farming. So now you can have portfolio manager on Set V2 who can have strategy with yield farming, and they're also going to provide some gas cost savings, which is very welcome in this environment where the gas fees are freaking high. And there are also a couple of new features for managers and developers. And the most interesting things was the Set portfolio. So as a portfolio manager, I understand that you can invest in strategies of other managers. So for example, you can have a manager that does some sort of an index fund, and you, if you're another manager, you're interested in this index fund in your own strategy, then you can do it. So that's going to be very interesting to see this new composability across different portfolio in this protocol. All right, so that's it for Set V2. Next is Bancor, which is going to launch its V2. So Bancor, we don't talk a lot of this DeFi project. This is actually one of the earliest Ethereum projects. I think it launched something in 2017. And it solved the same problem as Uniswap. So this is a decentralized exchange for ERC20 tokens. It uses similar IDs, so it works with a system of automated market makers. So you have also a system of liquidity pools, but the implementation is a little bit different from Uniswap. But in the end, Uniswap got way more popular than Bancor. But it's still interesting to know what Bancor is doing. And so recently they launched their V2, and one of their new feature is that I find interesting is that they offer some mitigation for impermanent loss. So I'm not going to get into the detail here, but impermanent loss, this is a technical term that means that for some liquidity pool like Uniswap, if you provide some liquidity for a certain time and after you withdraw the asset you invested, you can be worse off than if you had just held onto your asset. This is related to the mathematical equation they use to calculate the price of their liquidity provider tokens. But this is basically a big issue when you're a liquidity provider for these protocols. You don't want to suffer from impermanent loss. So Bancor has decided to tackle this problem. And also another thing, 20-time liquidity amplification. So this, I don't know what it means, but I think what they're trying to do is to improve, to attract more people to provide liquidity to their protocol. So basically for any developer who want to create his or her DeFi protocol, the main problem will be to attract liquidity to your protocol. So if you can solve this problem, your protocol will be successful, like Curve Finance, for example. All right, so that's it for Bancor V2. So next, on the investment side, there were a couple of really good news this week. So first, there was this big investment fund, which is called a venture fund, which raised $100 million to invest in DeFi. So it raised money from various universities. So far, they haven't invested in anything specifically. They were just raising money from the actual investors. But probably that we're going to see a lot of this money being invested in all the DeFi protocols that we love. So that's very bullish for us blockchain developers, and also as investors, that's super bullish because all the governance tokens of many DeFi protocol, well, they're going to benefit from all this money. So really, really good to see these institutional investors investing a lot of money. Then on the investment side again, so Uniswap announced they raised $11 million from famous VC Andreessen Horowitz. So if you don't know who they are, Andreessen Horowitz, this is one of the most prestigious investment fund in Silicon Valley. I already mentioned them in another video on my channel because recently they created a fund of 500 millions, especially for crypto and DeFi. So yeah, Uniswap can be super proud of that, 11 million. I mean, they're probably good for a few years, and going to build Uniswap V2 with this investment. So before, so there was Uniswap V1, they launched Uniswap V2 earlier this year. For V3, they haven't announced anything. Maybe it's going to be sometime next year. By the way, this week I'll do a video on Uniswap V2. So since they're going to do Uniswap V3, it means that I will have to do another video sometime next year. Yeah, great. I'm super happy. All right. Then I want to mention an exploit that took place last week on Opyn. So Opyn is a DeFi protocol for insurance. So they basically allow you to use options on the blockchain. I already explained in more detail Opyn in another newsletter. I think that was 2 weeks ago. So you can come back to this newsletter if you want more detail on what is Opyn. But basically, if you hold some Ether and you're afraid that your Ether is going to go down, then you can buy an insurance on Opyn, and it's going to protect you against any downward movement of Ether, basically. And so that's kind of ironic because even though this is an insurance, they were hacked for about $400,000 here. And so I think they reacted really well because they reimbursed everybody who lost some money in this attack, and they are already working on a patch with a security firm. I think they mentioned it somewhere in this article. Like they're working with the OpenZeppelin team to fix the problem. So of course it sucks that this happened. We don't want to see a hack happening in DeFi, but the field is still very young, and this is not the first one. It's not going to be the last one. So every time you invest, always keep this in the back of your mind. There is always a small chance that the protocol is hacked and that you lose everything. In this specific case, nobody lost anything because they had some insurance and they were able to reimburse DeFi investors. So I think from the perspective of how they responded to this incident, so far I would give them my trust. So let's hope that it's going to be the last exploit for them and they're going to fix everything. Okay, so next I want to talk a little bit of the founder of Yearn Finance and Curve Finance, so Andre Cronje. So he did a couple of interview this week on like various DeFi podcast and DeFi website, and so he's really tired. He's basically burning out. So he explained that he find that the DeFi community is really toxic. So this guy, he's working alone on Yearn Finance and Curve Finance, and as you may know, these are two of the most popular protocol in DeFi. So this guy never really expected to have such a success. And so overnight, he had like these thousands of people who use his projects, and he wasn't able to provide really support for all these people. And so in Twitter, he received like a lot of message, and a lot of people were really critical, and they didn't understand that it's not really the CEO of a company creating a product with a team and with some investor, but this is just a developer building product for himself. He already said it a couple of times that he's working for himself, not for other people. But still, other people decided to use his product. But I think it was pretty clear from the beginning. And so I think people had wrong expectation for this guy. He's not here to provide support. He said it really clearly. So I think this is a very interesting case because I noticed a lot of developers, they get super heavy into the technical aspect of things, but they don't really anticipate anything on the business side. And so you have to understand that in this industry, even though this is moving super fast, this is a marathon, this is not a sprint. So if you start to feel burnout, if you start to feel really tired, slow down, because it's way better if you can produce consistent effort over a couple of years instead of working super hard but just for a few months and after you burn out and you quit DeFi. So yeah, so learn to slow down a little bit. Think if you want to build your own blockchain project, try to anticipate how you are going to scale, how you are going to delegate. Also try to anticipate if you need to raise some money. So this guy, Andre Cronje, I think in the article they mentioned that he didn't benefit at all of everything he built. So he didn't benefit at all, not 1 cent. But on top of it, he spent a lot of money building what Yearn and doubled that on audit. So like we're talking of $120,000 of his own pocket for zero in benefit. So I mean that's really commendable. That's really nice. He's doing all of this for the community, but like you have to think of where how you're going to fund your project, and I don't recommend to do the same thing. Like this is very dangerous to do this. So it's better to learn how to raise some money. I already talked of this on my channel. One way you can raise some seed funding for your blockchain project is to participate to some hackathon. Like recently there was I think there was a hack finance or something like this. And very often like there are some blockchain hackathon, and so the idea is that you submit your project in this hackathon. Hopefully you get noticed. You become one of the finalists. You get a prize, and after some VC can invest in you based on your performance in this hackathon. But don't just be the guy who is technical, who's just like code like crazy and doesn't think about these things, because it takes a lot of time to develop any software project, blockchain or not blockchain. So you have to think of how you're going to finance all of this so that you don't have to use your own savings, so that you can delegate and you don't burn out. So I think this is interesting to study the case of Andre Cronje. So I hope he's going to rest, recover, and come back, and maybe not pay so much attention to everything that people say on social media. I know it can be quite toxic on my channel. On YouTube, this is fine, but sometime on Reddit, on Twitter, this is fine. Sometime on Reddit, people can be pretty brutal, but I mean, I'm fine. I just ignore them. Next, we're gonna continue with the news for developers. So here we have the list of the DeFi project that were the most active from the point of view of the developer activity. So Gnosis, Status, Aragon, Maker, Synthetics, etc. So why am I showing you this? Is because this is another way to judge a DeFi project. So if you talk to the average investor in blockchain, they only care about the price of such and such tokens. That's how they judge project, but that's not always relevant. You also have to consider other metrics such as developer activity. So when you are evaluating a DeFi project, make sure to also consider this. By the way, Gnosis, so this is the most active project here. This is a really badass project. So this is a prediction market on the blockchain. I have a tutorial on Gnosis on my channel if you're interested. This is super interesting technically, but unfortunately we don't talk about them enough. Next news, so OpenZeppelin, the Solidity library, announced that they're going to provide support for Solidity 0.7, which is the new version of Solidity that was released 2 weeks ago. I've made a video on Solidity 0.7 if you don't know what are the new features. So now OpenZeppelin supports Solidity 0.7, and you have to specify a special version here, 3.1 Solidity 0.7. So if you need to create a new project with OpenZeppelin, make sure to use Solidity 0.7 and this version of OpenZeppelin. All right, and lastly, we had a new release of TypeChain. So TypeChain, this is a library to work with TypeScript and Ethereum. So if you are building front-end and decentralized applications and you really like TypeScript, then check out TypeChain. This is the most popular TypeScript project for Ethereum. All right, guys, so I reached the end of all the news. So now I'm going to check out quickly the question in the chat. So first, Damon11 say, hey, please talk about flash loan liquidation strategy. And I think we had another similar question from Michael Iboa. Yeah, Julian, flash loan liquidation strategy, please. Okay, so first of all, you guys should take my free training on flash loans. So this is in the description of this video. I will give you a more comprehensive info, but very briefly, the idea is that you have to create a script that monitor what's happening on the blockchain. So if you want to do liquidation, so you have to monitor potential liquidations on Compound, on dYdX. I recommend to focus on a single protocol. Don't try to do several protocols at once. It will be too messy. And as soon as your script detects there is a liquidation opportunity, then you're going to send a transaction to the blockchain. And so you're going to send a transaction to a smart contract that you deployed before. And this smart contract can do a flash loan, can do the arbitrage based on what you provide as an input in the transaction. So you have two parts. You have the arbitrage smart contract or liquidation smart contract and the monitoring script. Or actually, in the case of liquidation, you don't necessarily need to also have a custom smart contract because the logic is a little bit more simple. You can do the liquidation directly, but if you wanna use a flash loan, yes, you will need to do a custom smart contract. Because in this case, smart contract, you will first borrow the money, then do the liquidation, then reimburse the money. All right. Ines says, have you managed to carry out any flash loan operation in Furo Combo? So Furo Combo is really good for trying things out. But the problem of Furo Combo is that you're not fast enough because you can't just like refresh the page of different decentralized exchange, and as soon as you find some opportunity, you scramble to Furo Combo and you do your arbitrage. It doesn't really work. Everything needs to be automated, but Furo Combo doesn't allow you to do this. So Furrow Combo, you can use it to learn flash loan, but to actually make money, then I don't necessarily recommend to do it professionally. I don't recommend to use Furrow Combo. Is there anyone can help trying to code my crypto exchange? Well, Tableau, you are in luck because in one of my course, six-figure blockchain developer. So I was talking of this course at the beginning. We build a decentralized exchange for 20 tokens. That's we built several projects, but that's the final project. This is a really very advanced project. The spot contract is quite advanced. The front end also, it has like some nice interface. So yeah, I mean, this is the kind of tutorial I cannot do on my channel because that would take way too long. People will not follow. So if you want to learn how to do this, take my course. And the big benefit of doing a project like this is that this is a major asset for your portfolio that can help you massively to find your first blockchain job. All right. Well, thanks a lot from Damon11. Yeah, thanks, man. Well, I think we're going to wrap up here. So, I think I forgot one question. Oh, Chandu, they say, won't the banks take significant market share? I think the banks, they will be very late in the game. Only recently there was some legislation in the US that allow banks to be custodian for crypto assets, but I don't even think that they really care about this. They are still stuck in their old ways. They think that this blockchain DeFi thing, this is just some toy, some gadget. I don't think they take it really seriously. So by the time they realize what's happening, I think this is going to be too late for the banks. All right, guys. So we're gonna wrap up here. So thanks for following this newsletter on Ethereum and DeFi, and I'll see you soon for other videos on my channel. Bye.